Oh, what's up, everybody? It's Corey, the Jaganator Marco, back with another episode of the Dodcast. We're recapping Anzio, looking at Armory for next week. First order of business, I gotta add to the donations because I got this the other day. Oh wait, I did add it already. Jesse, I'm an idiot. I thought I forgot to do this the other day, but Jesse, again, thank you, sending $50 my way the other night. In my head, I forgot to do it on the cast, but shows what I know. I don't know jack shit. We got to get into the frag of the week right off the bat here. I did not watch it yet. I just downloaded it, so I will be seeing it for the first time with everybody. War Within, as always, just fucking cranking them out, man, which is way easier said than done. Believe me, you. As somebody who has made, I don't know how many Frag of the Weeks myself, but keep submitting to this, man. I did not submit this week because I did not have any clips. The closest thing I had to a clip was me going on a 8-kill streak that literally took place over 5 minutes. Not exaggerating. Boot and creative. That's not War Within. Ah, I see why. Oh, shit. Yeah. So for context, because I don't know, non-movie makers would have no idea why this is being said at all or what it means, but in HLAE, the program that we use, well, that I use to capture as well, but a lot of other people, they don't capture with it. They just use it for like wall hack and cam path stuff, HLTV views. But there's a command that allows you to create depth of field, like focus in game, but it didn't work in DoD 1.3 ever. There's a bunch of commands that don't work in DoD 1.3, but that the program is clearly capable of, and Brandon he talked to the HLAE developer guys and got the code, and he's been recoding shit left and right to make a lot of these commands work that were available in the program but did not work in DoD 1.3. They worked in CS 1.6, they worked in CSGO, but did not work in DoD 1.3, so Brandon has been plugging away at it. You can see another one here, actually, the reflective surfaces here. That is also something that Brandon has figured out recently. And then I know Brandon and War also figured out how to change out the sky, which is another thing that you could always do in CS. Like when I made CS movies, I did that a few times. Couldn't ever get it to work in HLAE in 1.3, but again, here we are. They figured out a way to do it. So yeah, that's what all this is about. People have been able to achieve something similar to this, but it's not the same by editing. I mean, like you can achieve something similar to this by editing, but it's a lot of work for not a lot of payoff. Being able to do it just in the program like this is going to be nice for movie makers. Oh, my nose is running. Oh, they mentioned the custom skies. There you go. Are they going to mention the reflective surfaces? They didn't, but I did. Just in case you wouldn't have noticed it already, but I think you probably would have. Who do we got here? Oh, yeah. I think we saw that in the cast. Dan-in. Is this cushy? Oh, it's quarter. Dan-in. Oh, we saw this. Yeah. Betty. Oh, I didn't get to cast this game. I was really sad I didn't. You gonna wall this guy? Sure is. Ooh. Unfortunate for Matt there. Oh, later. Drew. Something happened with the in-game sound there. It was a little off with it. Used to happen in the past too. I forget what caused it. Bullet played really, really well in this game. Gonna bar snipe these guys, isn't he? I think we saw this too. Yeah. Forgot to lock that in-game sound to stretch there. I knew what that sound problem was. Quarter the clip machine. Only cost 3/4 for that clip machine. Quarter like Sniper from Hut like I do. Oh yeah, we saw this. That clip is insanity. That clip is insane, man. It's a sick STG clip. Oh, later, Steve. More Fetty. To the dome. Oh, nice. Savage's clip is in here, too. This was a huge moment for Savage. Nice. We got some clips from the Uncle Rico's match. I love it. Woo. I wonder if Ian submitted, too. He definitely had some clips. Multiples, I would say. I'm guessing he didn't. Looked like Insight just got a clip there. Ha 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 ha. That's a nice split screen there. Later. Is he gonna kill me here? Okay, no, he didn't. Couldn't remember if I got walled. Nice. Nice. Good submissions there. Good submissions there. Good to see more people submitting now as well. Obviously, we can always have more. The thing is, not a lot of people are willing to do what I did when I made Frag of the Week, which was, I mean, I watched so much DOD. I always have. So I would be watching all the games back then that I could, and I'd be checking screenshots, and anybody that I saw get a clip or have a good game, I would then be bugging them for their demos, and I'd be like, hey, if you don't want to time them, just send them over. I'll find the clip I'm looking for. But, you know, I'm pretty much the only person who's ever been willing to do that because I'm a psycho. For now, we just have to rely upon the kindness of one another to actually submit demos to the Frag of the Week. That was a pretty good set of submissions there, though. There's only, off the top of my head, a few other clips that I saw that, you know, weren't submitted that I would have loved to see submitted. Other than that, that was a lot of the stuff that I remembered for the week, so well done. And obviously, mad props to Brandon and War for all the shit that they're doing with HLA. It's got to be crazy fucking work that they got going on there. I can't even imagine. As somebody who most certainly is not capable of doing coding, I literally cannot imagine. What do we got going on here? 3 p.m., so I can't do that one. 9:30, I might be able to do that. Ooh, 2 p.m. I might be able to do. 2 p.m. I might be able to do. 3 p.m. I can't do because we play at 3. 4 p.m. maybe? Oh, I already reacted to that. 3 p.m. I can't do. Lots of 3 p.m. games. Lots of 3 p.m. games. Shit. Soul versus Icy Hot at 9 I'll probably get to do. And looks like Rodeo versus Wickeds, I would guess, would be the two that I'll get to do. Where was the Rodeo versus Wickets game? This one? There we go. I don't see the icy soul. Oh, wait. Yeah. There we go. As of right now, wait. What about the emo game? Somebody was messaging me. I think it was Darren was talking to me about the emo Band of Morons game. I think I that's another one that I should be able to do, but unclear. Let's get on with the business here. And again, don't forget to spend fucking frag of the week to War Within, or I'll fucking kill everybody. Okay. Do we got any like makeup matches that happened this week? It don't look like it much. We ain't got none there. Wait. Yeah, okay. For a second I was a little confused. I confused myself. Don't worry. All right. So, there's definitely not all the matches here, but we can only do what we can do, right? So let's start off in the bronze division. Are all three matches? All right, so here we go. Right off the bat, Rodeo versus the Ninja. Rodeo 589 to 368 for the Ninja. 221-point win for Rodeo. Back on the winning track. Uh-oh, somebody's missing from that screenshot. That's not good. Is that first half? This is first half. Okay. So, first half here. Allied side for the Ninja. They do win the Allied half here. They get out fragged by 11. Oh, CK had 48 kills. Wow. For the Ninja's side of things, 24 for Bestia. Oh, sorry, 26 for Saber, 24 for Bestia, 23 for Miller, 21 for the Bear. They got the Bear in there. 20 for Steve, 10 for Verb. And then on the Rodeo side, 48 for CK is just, that's crazy work, CK. 48 kills there. 28 for Nick. Nick continuing to get back into the swing of things as time goes on, as you would expect. Snipies with 17, Lasik with 16, Kickin with 16, Yarrow with 10. And yeah, it was about a 60-ish point lead, 57 for the Ninja after their Allied side, but then on to the Axis side. Who was not here for this? Looks like Saber was no longer in there. I'm not sure if it was he just disconnected at the end. We don't see his name there, but regardless, unclear if he was there up until basically the end or not. But Allied side, 350 to 72, plus 65 on the kills, but that's with one guy missing, so probably like plus 40-ish. On the Ninja side, 28 for Cam, 25 for Steve, 20 for Bestia, 17 for Verb, 13 for Miller, and then for, oh my god, he got 100 kills. CK got to the century mark. Jesus. 52 and 21 on Allies, 32 for Lasik, 27 for Nick, 21 apiece for Yarrow and Kickin, 15 for Snipies. Big W for the Rodeo. Trying to kind of re-secure themselves at the top of the bronze division, getting that big win at the beginning of the season against No-Go on Lennon, but then taking the L versus, who'd they take the L to? I don't even remember. Who'd they take that L to out there? Let's find out, because I've already forgotten. Uncle Rico's Time Machine, that's right, a close game there. We didn't get to cast that one, sadly. But yeah, getting the win against the Ninja here, big time, helpful. The Ninja Illusion, I think, has only played one game here, which, I mean, that's kind of important. That roster gets significantly more dangerous when Illusion is around, but he's only gotten to play once this season. I'm not sure it's just not available or what, but it would be very helpful for the Ninja if Illusion is able to be around more often. On the Rodeo side, I know they're having some kind of roster problems right now. Like, I think both Kickin and Yarrow no longer available. Those are big-time losses. They're going to need to reinforce that roster pretty quickly, I'd say. Because, you know, Yarrow, I'm pretty sure both those guys are, like, were 100% starters. Like, they're not just kind of playing because someone was missing here. They're both starters, definitely. So, going to be interesting to see how that works out. Yeah, but in the meantime, they got the W on Anzio. They're at 2-1 now. They're in good shape. You know, they're just going to need to try to tidy up that roster a little bit going forward. You know, CK getting 100 kills is going to happen, but you can't expect it to happen every single week, right? You need to find somebody out there to help out on that team now. Just to fill it out at this point. I'm sure there's plenty of players available. It's just a matter of finding the ones who can be available. So, all right. Next up, was there another game that we didn't get to cast? We technically got to cast some of this. There's only, I guess there's 3 games, and I got to cast one whole one, one half of one, and then I didn't get to do that one at all. So No-Go versus the Wicked, 653 to 218 for No-Go. This was, as we just saw in the frag of the week, they had quite a few clips in this, as they always do. When you watch No-Go, they're a clip team. They're going to get theirs. Okay, that's second half. So first half, No-Go on Axis, 210 to 84 for No-Go. On the Wicked side, Bullet, 24. As I said, he played really, really well in this game, both halves. He looked great. 22 for Zaps, 22 for Jiraiya, 19 for Ryan, 17 for AZ, 13 for Leto. And on the No-Go side, 35 for Cushy, of course. Would you ever be surprised? You wouldn't. 34 and 15 for Quarter. He had clips left and right, as did Kush. 24 for Blue Revolver, getting heavy because this man I don't think will ever snipe again, and I totally understand it. 18 for Greg on a heavy, 17 for Dedro on a rifle, 15 for Jamie on the other, about 126-point lead, and then they go into the Allied side, and they do what you got to do on the Allied side of Anzio. They win by about 309. That's kind of best-case scenario on Allied side of Anzio. For the Wickeds, though, 27 for, but like he really did just play super well across the board here. Both halves, as did AZ. In this half, the 2 heavies on Axis side, top fragging for the Wickeds. You know, that's a good way to be able to be successful. Just weren't able to pull it together all across the map there. 27 for Bullet, 22 for AZ, 20 for Zaps, 17 for Ryan, 14 for Jiraiya, 12 for Leto, and then for No-Go, 31 for 3-sided Quarter, 30 for Kush, 28 for Dedro, 23 for Jamie, 21 for Blue, 8 for Greg. There's just nothing. We watched that game, and every time Greg was standing on Plaza looking to cap, everyone else was just like pushed up to wherever, killing stuff. And he's just standing there like waiting for someone to cap until eventually like 4 guys from the other team came and overwhelmed him. I felt for Greg in that game. I've been that guy in that game, where the rest of my team is just running around doing whatever the fuck they want, and I'm standing there trying to, like, win the game still, you know? So I know how that feels, Greg. I know how that feels. Don't sweat it. But yeah, big win for No-Go. I mean, you know, No-Go coming into the season, they were the silver champs last season. Obviously, they lose a couple of guys, but you knew in bronze this season they were going to be one of the favorites, and they have proven that week in and week out. Obviously, that loss to Rodeo was really at the hands of just CK deciding there was no way he was going to lose that game and kind of single-handedly capping out. But if not for that, they'd be at the top of the division right now by themselves. Instead, we've got, I mean, these divisions this season, man, are just crazy. So Rifle Nades is 2-0. They're obviously, they haven't played their 3rd game yet, but if they were to lose that game, whoever it is they're playing against, hypothetically, could end up with a 4-way tie at 2-1, which we could also see happen here. When Dice and Icy Out play, if Icy Out were to win that game, we would have a 4-way tie at 2-1. In the Silver Division, I mean, I guess this is the downside of the Silver Division right now. It is a clusterfuck of teams that have makeup games to play. I don't know exactly which games need to be made up off the top of my head, but there's been 3 weeks, and obviously there are going to be teams that get buys here, but Best Buds have 2 games. The only team with 3 games played is Price is Right, and Emo Frag Squad. That's it. Everyone else is at 2 games. Everyone else. Clinic 1-1. I think they had a bye. I don't think they have a makeup game to play. GVMH doesn't have a makeup game to play. They're supposed to be 1-1. I think Expired have a makeup. I think Best Buds have a makeup. Clan X have a makeup. Volvo have a makeup. And Band of Morons had a bye, so they're supposed to be 1-1. There's a bunch of makeup games to be. I mean, I guess it's probably like 3 or 2 or something like that. But that's really the only reason we can't really tell if it's going to be the same thing here. But you could very easily see this also be a similar situation where there's just 4 or 5 teams with 1 loss. The divisions are crazy. All right. On the last game, this was a fucking heater of a game here. Uncle Rico's Time Machine versus Rifle Nades. Uncle Rico's Time Machine was undefeated heading into this game, as was Rifle Nades. They were 1-0, but Rifle Nades end up escaping at 2-0, and Uncle Rico's Time Machine takes the L to go to 2-1. This was a crazy, crazy game. It came absolutely down to the wire. I mean, I didn't go back and double check exactly what the situation was, but I know with about a minute left, Uncle Rico's Time Machine was winning. They had bridge and they had street, and I believe they only needed to hang on to that. And not even for the rest of the game. They just needed to hang on to it for like one more tick. And for some reason, they ended up with like 4 guys on the Plaza side of the map. I don't know if they thought they needed to get Plaza or if they thought that maybe Bridge was going to go down no matter what. So they were trying to secure a double cap to go with mid, and they just got caught by Chrono, who had like a ridiculous run in the last minute of that game to really, I mean, he was the MVP for Rifle Nades for sure. They don't win that game without what Chrono did in the last couple minutes of it. But yeah, Uncle Rico's Time Machine was in full control. It comes down to the last minute. They just need to really hang on to one double cap and mid for one tick, which there was a tick about to go off when all this happens. So they really needed to just hang on to one of those flags for like another 10 seconds. And then Uncle Rico's Time Machine would have had to cap out to win. But instead, Uncle Rico's Time Machine get Plaza back, they get street, and then they get bridge. And so for the last 2 ticks of the game, they're able to accrue, I think it was like 8 points to go from being down 5 points or whatever, or 3 points, or I don't remember exactly what the numbers were, but they ended up winning by 3 points. 3 points. So first half, Uncle Rico, Allied side, 197 to 181, plus 1 on the kills, so even. You can see, though, on the TK side of things, 3 for Rifle Nades and 8 for Uncle Rico's Time Machine. Lots of TKs and some in some pretty unfortunate spots there. There's a really funny one that G had. That one was not in an important spot. They were going for Plaza and they got Plaza, but there was a guy in the ladder window while they had, I think, 4 guys going for Plaza, Uncle Rico's Time Machine, and the window guy had a bar, I believe, so he started shooting. And then the bar next to him started shooting, and like the guy window got 1 kill, so you'd see the bar up on the death notice, hear the bar next to you. The calls aren't going to come in fast enough. You got to just be able to react. And G started shooting. I don't even know if it was like right at his teammate or if a teammate walked in front of him, but he TK'd that guy and TK'd another guy on the cap. I showed this on a cast, or maybe even in a Dodcast, last season in the finals against G-Skill on Harrington, holding the second flag on Axis. I TK'd 2 guys with consecutive car shots. So they didn't cap out. So it was a similar thing where it was like very funny double TK, but it at least didn't like cost anything. But yeah, TKs, lots of TKs there. It happens. On the Uncle Rico's Time Machine side, 33 for Stark, of course, ST Kevin delivering when most needed. Ian Gilmore looked great in this game, 24 on the Garand. Kevin Purdy with 23 on the Garand, 21 for Head Like a Hole, 21 and 19, good sniper half, 15 for Cadaver, 13 for G, and on the Rifle Nade side, of course, a Zilla, 31 and 17, so good, always playing so well, 24 and 16 for Arachnid, as you would expect, 22 for Chrono, 20 for Firo, 18 for Henry, and 13 for Celts, not Celts. He's not Celtic, he's Celtic. And then moving on to the second half, a 19-point win there to make it a 3-point victory overall for Rifle Nades. You can see, I mean, frag-wise, plus 25 for Uncle Rico's Time Machine. They were dominating play. For all intents and purposes, they probably should have won this game. There's, I'd say, a few small, maybe mental errors, like instances where they could have capped. And instead of, just getting on the cap, they would have a guy push, and I talk about this a lot. And I understand the thought process behind it, like you're trying to get out in front to prevent the break, but on a lot of maps, you can only prevent like 1 out of 4 potential break avenues. And in those instances, it's always better to just get the extra guy on the cap. more often than not. And that definitely happened a few times on the Uncle Rico's Time Machine side where they could have capped the double cap and just had an extra guy kind of like push up, but then the other guy died, or the other guy also didn't get on the cap, and just, you know, a little bit of a communication lapse, or just trying to do too much. That happens too, you know, especially in a close game like this. You feel like you got to make that extra play, and sometimes it pays off. When it does, you look like a genius, right? And then when it doesn't, you feel like a piece of shit. But yeah, I mean, this Uncle Rico's Time Machine was playing really, really well on their Axis side, and it just kind of all fell apart in the last minute. So 32 kills for the bridge duo there of Ian Gilmore and Purdy, the R Sports Xeno bridge duo of Ian Gilmore and Purdy. They looked outstanding. I loved getting to see Ian Gilmore playing bridge with a fucking car. That was cool, man. He looked really good with the car. Right at the end of the game, I mean, this game actually could have ended up even a little bit larger of a win for Rifle Nades, but Ian killed 3 guys with the car at the last flag in the last 10 seconds, as fast as you can kill 3 guys with a car. So yeah, be on the lookout in bronze, because Ian and Purdy are feeling it now, and that's not good news for the rest of you. Those are elite players throughout DoD history, and if they're going to start feeling it, that's bad news for everybody. 24 for ST Kevin, a good half on the STG again. He top fragged overall, I believe, or maybe, actually, I think, what did he end up with? 55 or 57. Ian ended up with 56. Okay, yeah, so ST Kevin with the top frag. Purdy was 55. It was Stark 57, Ian 56, Kevin 55. Had like a whole almost 2-to-1 there, 23 and 12, 15 for G, 14 for Cadaver. And on the Rifle Nade side, Chrono top fragged at 29 with the huge play in the last minute to secure the 3-point win for him there. 22 for Henry on the other bar, 20 for Azilla, 16 for Firo, 15 for... I almost called him Celts again. When I see that word in my head, I just want to say Celtic. Because it's like the American pronunciation of it, and then that feels like the way you're not supposed to, but we are American. I am American, so I should pronounce it that way. They're not Celtic. They're Celtics, the Boston Celtics. I just gotta fucking get over it. Celt, and Arachnid with 13. We had this conversation during the cast where I was like, is it Celts or Celts, just to be sure? Because, like, if somebody says that, you know, somebody Irish, the Celtic warrior, right? It's in my head. Anyways, Uncle Rico's Time Machine take their first loss of the season. You know, so fucking close. A real classic game in bronze there. Definitely worth going back and watching. Even just for the finish alone, it was crazy at the end. Speaking of which, I should export the VODs for this weekend while I'm thinking about it. But a tough way to lose the undefeated season there for Uncle Rico's Time Machine. They really looked like they should have won that game. And Rifle Nades, man, is this going to be another instance of a Source team coming over? I mean, for Firo, it would be the second time, and Azilla coming over and winning the bronze division in 1.3. They look very, very impressive so far. I love seeing Chrono back playing the game as well. You know, we're calling him a Source player, but he is a 1.3 player. You know, that's where he started. He continued playing 1.3 after Source came out, while also being one of the best players in Source. It's just he then stopped playing 1.3 at a certain point and was just a Source player. But the guy is a 1.3 player, so there was never any doubt that he was going to come back and be fine. And now the more he's playing, the better he's going to get. All right. On to the silver side of things. What game didn't I get to do? I didn't get to do Band of Morons. I did do that one, and I did do that one. All right, that's it. All right, so Band of Morons versus Clan X. I was bummed I didn't get to do this one. This was a clash of the Titans here in the Silver Division. Band of Morons turns out to be the titaniest of Titans at 562 to 291 over Clan X. Let's see if there's any indication of which half was which. No, there is not. I'm just going to assume they did it in the proper order. So Allied side for Clan X, 154 to 125, 29-point victory, plus 2 on the kills there. For the Band of Morons, 29 and 14 for Darren. Of course, always going to be consistently putting up the numbers as the sniper. Not surprised at all. James on the car with 21. Drew with 20 on the STG. 19 apiece for Baron and Insight. 15 for Cody. And on the Clan X side, 29 for Rafinha, the baby goat, of course. 29 and 12 for Nitrox. He does exactly the same thing Nicholson does. Nitrox has been excellent. He's always excellent. Whatever gun you give him, whatever route, whatever map, he's going to do it without question. And then we got Mand in there this week, which was nice to see. Mand getting to rifle as well. Not having to snipe for once. Got 18, 17 for Matt and Bud, the old heavy duo back together. And then Hobby with 15. On to the second half, 29-point lead it was. And then on the Allied side, as we saw some Frag of the Week clips here from Band of Morons, they ran away with it here. Exactly 300-point win, plus 45 on the Frags. Very convincing victory in the end there to make a statement early on in this season of Silver that they are one of the teams to have to contend with, taking out Clan X, who was already seen as one of the favorites. Thing is, now Clan X with some roster trouble. Javi out. He's done. He's saying he's not going to play DOD at all this season. He's done after that, which is a big loss. He has been so good lately. I'm hoping he'll reconsider, and even if he's not going to play with Clan X, go find a different team to play for, because I feel like Javi can bring a lot of value, like, to any division. He can play any class. He's reliable. He's smart. You know, you can slot MP in on any team, any class, and he will be a difference maker. So that would be a tough loss for just the league as a whole for him to not be around, but in particular for Clan X. Clan X has a deep roster, so they will be able to, you know, fill that spot. They don't necessarily need to, like, go pick somebody else up. Just to take a look at exactly who they've got. Oh, okay, he's already gone from the roster. But they had Bitch X, who wasn't playing there, Manga, who wasn't playing there, and Lobaton, who wasn't playing there. So plenty of guys and good players to be able to fill right back in, but a huge loss nonetheless. So second half here for Clan X, 21 for the Baby Goat, 20 for Bud, 19 for Nitrox, 19 for Mand, 16 for Javi, 7 for Matt, and then for Band of Morons, 28 and 15 for Darren. So that put him at, 57 and 29, I think, just about 2-1. Betty with 28 and 18, James 27 and 19, Insight with 22, and then 21 apiece for Drew and Cody, 17 and 15 deaths respectively. Strong bar halves. Moral of the story, Band of Morons, man, watch the fuck out, everybody else. I've been saying it since the start. Like, this team, there's a lot of stacked teams in this division, don't get me wrong, but, like, this roster just looks so stacked to me. Like, in my head, I feel like if there had been another spot in gold, like, I feel like this would have been the team that would have had to be moved up. I'm speculating on that. I have no idea. Just my looking at the rosters, you looking at the player, there's just so many fucking insane players on this team. That's such a stacked team. And they've got more on the bench, too, you know? Like, they have no shortage of ridiculous fucking stacked team roster options to go when they're missing anybody. So yeah, if you were taking that team lightly in the Silver Division, this is, hello everybody, we're Band of Morons and we're gonna beat everybody. Now the Silver Division is stacked, and if you're somebody who watches MMA, you likely have heard of MMA math, where it's like, oh well, this guy beat this guy who beat that guy, so that means that guy, the first guy will also beat that guy. But it doesn't work that way. Styles make fights, right? Styles make fights, and it's the same thing in DOD. So just because Band of Morons like shit on Clan X, who shit on somebody else, doesn't mean that Band of Morons is going to beat that somebody else, right? Different map, different lineups, different matchups, etc., etc. That's what makes that, you know, that's why we play the games, right? You can't just do it based off of this team beat that team who lost to this team, whatever. I think that Band of Morons matches up really well with a lot of the teams in Silver. I think there are a couple teams that match up well with them. It's kind of the same thing in Gold right now, right? Like, Icy Hot beat G-Skill, who beat Thunder, who beat Icy Hot. You know, like, it just goes round and round and round. And then I feel like we could very easily lose this game to Over this week, who lost to G-Skill and Soul, right? Like, there's so many instances of this where map and play style of the whole team, you know, as a whole, not just individual players, because I think you have to specify when it comes to that. you can have numerous aggressive players on your team very easily and still be a relatively balanced or even passive team. And sometimes that plays better against certain teams. Sometimes aggression plays better against certain teams. I think aggression tends to play better against Thunder, because we're very by the book players. We have a couple guys who don't do that. We have a couple guys who kind of play more aggressive and go off doing their own thing. But overall, the structure of the team is more by the book rather than the chaos, right? Sometimes the chaos can work out especially well against that. And then sometimes against the chaos, you need something who's a lot more concerted effort in their passivity and kind of sequencing out the map, sectioning it off, and just hitting your shots, right? Like being strong mechanical players who can hold angles and understand how to force a team into pressure rather than having them dictate the pressure at their own pace and time. There's a few different in the game right now in the meta styles of play that you'll see teams deploy overall. And I would say it's like that. It's like there's the chaotic, all-out aggression as a whole, as a team, right? Every team needs balance. Even with G-Skill, with Dice, the more and with Over especially, I think Over is the one team who needs a little more balance on their side. I think Chi made a huge difference last season, getting that one extra guy who was more passive and more of a balanced player to counteract the extreme aggression that everybody else has on the team. I mean, Nightmare as well is a balanced player. But him is the only one that's not enough, I think. I think one more guy on Over just needs to kind of rein it in by 50%. But then you look at the makeup of a lot of teams and they'll always, every team needs at least a guy or two that will not just run straight forward. G-Skill's got, obviously the sniper's usually going to be one of those two players. Colin, very much in that ilk, and Milo. Milo, not the run straight forward, just don't stop pushing heavy. You need that balance. I have to do that on Thunder. I'm sure that if most people's opinions previous would have been, well, yeah, Corey just runs straight forward and tries to get movie clips. But on this team, I can't afford to do that, or else we would just be losing games because we would all be dying at the same time. And we still do that a lot. But every team needs that balance. And I think Band of Morons has a really good balance on their team. I love the makeup of that team. Obviously, they're a new team. So they're going to keep developing and everything, and you never know what can happen with that. But the makeup of that team screams well-balanced, Thanos style. Someone, hey, my editor, insert the Thanos meme right now. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Thanks, Jamie. Okay, on to the next one. After my little rant about how good I think Band of Morons is. So, Expired versus Emo Frag Squad. This score, I think, is a little bit deceiving here. 462 to 304. Emo Frag Squad, I thought were going to win this game for probably about 60% of it. Expired really just kind of broke through in the dying minutes to make it much more of a blowout than I think it actually was. But really, really good game here. This was a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, you can see. So on the Allied side for Emo Frag Squad, they were winning for the majority of the half, and they just needed to not get capped on. And what ended up happening is they got capped on twice, which actually they might have even got capped on a third time, something like that. But they were in control of the map, and they just needed to not get capped on in order to win and hold, I think, one double cap. Either double cap, right? It's always easier said than done. It's just the whole thing on Thunder, the map Thunder, where it's well, all you have to do is get mid and hold it. If you've if you have a demo where two evenly matched teams played and one team just held on to mid for 20 full minutes, I would love to see it. Because everyone acts like it's but this map is so stupid, you just get mid and hang on to it. Yeah, good luck with that. Easier said than done. However, in this case, Expired did end up breaking through when they needed to and got a couple extra full caps there. So first half here, Allied side for Expired. I'm taking my headset off. I don't give a fuck. I'm not even listening to nothing. 240 to 115. That's a 125-point deficit. That's not too shabby. Plus 18 on the kills for the Expired side. For Emo Frag Squad, Matt had 22, Ian had 21, 20 apiece for Apple and J-Rod, 15 for Steve, 13 for Saf. And on the expired side, it was 29 for SQ, the man, the myth, the legend, such a good player. 23 for Anna, 22 for Raven, 19 for Super, and 16 for Empy. In this half even, to be honest, Emo Frag Squad looked like they maybe should have even won this half. There was definitely some mental errors, guys getting off full caps, not full cap, like similar to what happened in the Uncle Rico's Time Machine game, where like they had opportunities to cap and they just got a little bit they thought about it too much. Like sometimes you just got to get on the cap because every passing second that you wait is another second that they could be breaking it and that they're more likely to be breaking it. Which again is easier said than done. That's just the kind of thing that you just got to take a chance in a lot of instances. Some over pushing for sure when they didn't, not even that they didn't need to be. It was just a bad time to do it. But again, like players are going to try to make plays sometimes, and we can talk about it in retrospect from afar like this really easily and go like, well, they clearly shouldn't have done that. But in those moments, those guys try to make those plays. When they do make them, we're sitting here talking about how this insane play that Chrono made, like that play by Chrono could have easily backfired in his face, and we'd be talking about how like, well, Chrono just needed to sit in street and hold the street flag, and then they could have won. But he took a chance, and it worked out, and he got 4 kills, and his team ended up getting map control off it. Like, it's all theory when it comes down to it. Like, I can sit here and say this guy and this guy, they shouldn't have pushed in that moment, but 50% of the time, that push could be what actually secures the cap and leads to a cap out, and then the other 50% of the time, they look stupid for having even tried it. That's just the way it goes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you can force errors that way, taking the fight to the other team, forcing them to maybe throw that grenade away to try to fight you, or putting them under pressure so they got to throw the nade a little bit quicker and then they miss it. It's all theory stuff that, it's just, I'm doing a Dodcast. What else am I going to talk about? All right, second half here. So it was Axe aside for expired. As I said, Emo Frag Squad was in position to win this game. It just kind of fell apart on him, and expired took full control and full advantage. Anna was the MVP of this game, 33-15 on Axis. Basically, she wasn't going bridge alone, but she was basically going bridge alone. And Pizza Hut was going bridge with her, but she was unkillable, basically, at the Axis side of bridge, the Tiki area. Continuously, Emo Frag Squad would have control of the rest of the map and just be not able to get out onto bridge because Anna was still there. I don't know how many kills in a row she got at times, but she was basically unkillable over there. It was a huge performance from her. 33-15. You had 26 on Raven. We saw some of the craziness in the frag of the week. You had 22 for SQ, 21 for MP, 16 for Super. MP was ringing in this game, by the way. MP is not on expired. He's on Clan X. But MP might be the sleep paralysis demon of Emo Frag Squad because they've played 3 games. They're 1-2, and both games they've lost to MP. Just saying. Maybe they should pick up MP. Get MP on fucking Emo Frag Squad as a reliable fucking 7th man, right? Then they actually would never lose again. They would never lose again. And then on the Emo Frag Squad side, Ian Galasso with a great performance. He was doing all he could to keep what they had under their control. 34-17 there. J-Rod, again, very strong. 28-23. 26 for Apple. He seemed to be the only guy who was able to find picks on bridge just because he's such a fucking insane mechanical player. Sometimes he would, you're not going to kill him. Doesn't matter where you are or who you are. He's just going to peek you and own you. That's the Apple way. 21 for Matt, 20 for Steve, 11 for Saf, and a big W for expired here, fighting back. And this was a match full of adversity for expired, and they showed extra seasons playing together here, paying dividends for them with the experience playing with one another in what was a tough game. That game easily could have gone the other way. As I said, during the cast, myself and the chat were both basically like, oh, look at that, Emo Frag Squad's going to win again. The Jetty curse is gone, yada, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden it just turned around so fast. But every minute in a server together as a new team counts here. It seriously, there may be some people who disagree with this, but it really does add up. And for Emo Frag Squad, winning and losing right now is kind of immaterial. Everybody's going to make the playoffs, but getting these games in, these tight games, win or lose, is going to make a difference come playoff time later on when all the games are tight and stressful, and understanding how to play with one another and stay composed and work with each other to find ways to win. So, no reason to hang the head right now. Expired is one of the favorites in the division. They are so stacked. And this map in particular for them is a tough matchup to get them on, to be honest. All right, last part of Silver here. This was another crazy-ass game, and I mean, I think people would call it an upset for sure. Maybe after the game, in retrospect, you're like, that wasn't really an upset, because you look and Game Violation Multi-Hack wins by 233 points over Price is Right, after Price is Right just absolutely obliterated Band of Morons on Rail Yard last week. Price is Right looked like the world beaters of this division after that match, with Leo getting like 100 kills and everything. Band of Morons is a really good team, and for Price is Right to do to them what they did was just like, oh, okay, so Price is Right's probably going to win silver this season then. But again, styles make fights, man, and sometimes, this division, there's no predicting what's going to happen. I said Clinic was going to go undefeated, and they already lost the game. I don't think anybody would have had Best Buds to be undefeated. If there was going to be one team undefeated in the Silver Division, I don't know if you would have picked Best Buds. I don't know if many people would have, besides Best Buds themselves. They know how it goes. They know what's up. But yeah, this was a bonkers game here. Okay, that's second half. So, first half, Axis side for GVMH. They do win their Axis half here by 35, plus 18 on the kills. On the Price is Right side, Pibian. Really, this was a sniper battle here in this half in particular. 33 kills for Pibian, 33 and 22 to be exact. Kellen had 24, Leia with 22. And then 20 on Tony, 13 for Caleb, 10 for Corey. And on the GVMH side, Hooley. And, it's just full circle for me, because I've been talking about Hooley ever since that roster formed. And I was like, is that Hooley, like the French sniper? The guy whose movie I watch all the time? And immediately was like, if that's Hooley, then this team has a hell of a big three in No Name, Raleigh, and Hooley. And it is that Hooley. And you could see, if I hadn't known before this game, just casting this game, it would have been clear immediately that it was that Hooley. He went 38 and 19, sniping predominantly double windows, which I personally love as a double windows just player, but sniper as well. Before I ever card double windows, I was a sniper double windows. And man, he just did everything that I would probably have to tell somebody to do. And if I was going to go through it and be like, this is what you should do here, he was just doing it. It was beautiful to watch. 38 and 19 for him. What a game for Hooley. He was the MVP here overall. No Name, of course, 30 and 18 on the other side too. So, and I was curious if they might send all three of these guys bridge. They were, No Name definitely rotated around the map a bit. Hooley definitely rotated around the map a bit. But generally speaking, Hooley was on Plaza and No Name was on bridge, along with Raleigh over there. Who had 21 kills as well as PG, and we saw that crazy SDG clip that Pijisku had coming out of water ramp onto bridge. It didn't break it, but he killed the whole bridge team right after they capped. GVMH get bridge right back and just stomp out the momentum that was potentially coming there for Price is Right. It just really, really impressive stuff from GVMH here. Oh, I forgot. So it's 21 apiece for Raleigh and Pijisku, 19 for Aki. Good to see Aki getting in there. 11 for Sango. Aki and Pijisku look like really, really solid heavy team. I've played with and against both those guys, I think, more than any of the other newer players from this season, and it was clear right from the start. They have a good understanding of the game just from a baseline, and every bit of experience that they're going to get is just, man, that this team could be the team to win it all just because of that. You've got such a crazy big three here. All three of those guys are certifiable studs, and every little bit of increased skill and experience that come to the other three is just going to make each game easier and easier. The more balanced the attack is for these guys, the less that they're going to have to rely on just like huge games from No Name, Raleigh, and Hooley. And it's so early in the season, and they already look really good. That's not good news for the rest of Silver, I'll tell you that. So second half, 361 to 163 for GVMH on the Allied side, plus 40 in the kill total there. They started to run away with it a little bit more towards the end. But yeah, I mean, that's what you need to do on Allied side Anzio, right? You need to win your Allied side most of the time. That's not a fucking cut and dry rule, as we will see later. But, you know, you generally want to win your Allied side, probably by at least a couple caps, and GVMH does so here. So for Price is Right, you had 24 for both Pibian and Leo, 23 for Corey, 22 for Kellen, 14 for Tony, 13 for Caleb, and on the GVMH side, 33 for No Name, 33 for Hooley as well to give him 71. He was 71 and 35. Over 2-1 KD with 70 kills sniping. Just, man. Snipers in Silver, watch the fuck out. Good luck to all of you. You know, good luck to all of you. Obviously, this is a match where the snipers are not running into each other all that much. There's plenty of maps that are like that, but I would have loved to see this sniper matchup on like an Armory or something, or Railroad 2, where the snipers are facing each other a lot more. Because Pibian versus Hooley, man, they both had a lot of moments in that game. Really, everybody kind of had a moment across this. It's just GVMH was fucking relentless. Every time it looked like Price is Right, we're gathering some momentum, and we're going to pull the comeback off and get it started. It was just like, there's No Name getting a 3K, there's Hooley getting a 3K, there's Aki getting a 3K. You know, Aki with 28 kills there, second top fragger behind Hooley and No Name, who both had 33, obviously. I know I said two names, but 26 for Raleigh as well, 23 for Pijisku, 17 for Sango. Not much left for him to have to do there in the end. Big win for game violation multi-act. That is another one that is a statement win there. I think this is a really good map for them in general. I mean, they've only played it once, obviously, right? But I feel like it will be a really good map for them. No Name is insane on this map. We just saw that Hooley can go snipe double windows, and if teams don't figure out a way to deal with that and maybe force him to head back over to bridge and them to reconsider having a sniper in double windows, which you can do for sure. Trust me, having been a sniper double windows, there are certain teams who they understand what you have to do to deal with that. You know, especially because if you're sniping double windows, you don't have nades, right? So you can very easily limit the impact that a double window sniper can have on Plaza. Most of the time just by not peeking him and nading him, right? Because, like, as a sniper, what are you going to do at that point? If you got two nades coming into the double windows, you go back up there, they've already got Plaza, they're not peeking you anymore. Now what are you going to do? You're going to jump out double windows? Well, there's a bar waiting right under it. There's ways around it, and someone's going to have to figure that out if they're going to have to play GVMH. On Anzio, it's, again, easier said than done. This is definitely one of the maps that I would not want to play them on, though, because besides the obvious big three, the other three guys played really, really fucking well. I mean, just look at the scores there. Aki and Pijisku, 28 and 23 each of them. Like, that's the heavy team right there. That's not Raleigh, No Name, and Hooley. They both played outstanding. They did their jobs, and this team now looks like the world beater. I can't wait to see the rest of this fucking season in the Silver Division, man. Like, just looking at any matchup, basically, right? Let's see. What do we got this week here? Volvo and Best Buds still have to make up. Fandom. Okay, those are the buys. So there's Expired Clan X makeup and Volvo Best Buds makeup. This week we get Clan X versus GVMH. Ooh, baby. Is that game scheduled yet? Did I see that game scheduled already? Oh, no, that's a 3 o'clock game. I need that one to get HLTV recorded. GVMH then versus Emo Frag Squad on Thunder. GVMH versus Expired on Solitude. There's the Band of Morons game. Ooh, it's on Harrington. Ooh, baby. Ooh, yeah. Then Volvo on Saints. and Clinic on Railroad 2. That's another very interesting one. That is an interesting one. I'll be curious to see what the setup is for GVMH on Railroad 2. I mean, obviously, Hooley's sniping, so he's going to be in the sniper lofts, but where does No Name and Raleigh go? Who do you send train? I would say probably not either of those guys. You certainly could. I mean, on Axis side. Allied side, you can send just about anyone. You can send like your star player train, and they can find a lot of fucking value there. But Axis side, it's a little bit different. But yeah, Silver, man. Crazy, crazy, crazy division. I can't wait to see how things continue to progress there. Now, on to the gold side of things. We'll do our game first. This was... so Dice and Icy Hot didn't play, and they're not playing again this week. They want to make sure that they have the main 6 from each team there, which is understandable. Dice and Icy Hot to have a legendary rivalry from the land to play off of again here, and Anzio, a map they played in that best of 3. So, G-Skill Thunder, I mean, here's the thing, right? G-Skill Thunder, it's kind of like the biggest rivalry in DoD history now. You know, you have the Check 6 complexity, you have the game-wise highball, or Check 6 highball, whatever you want to call them. You have, for me, like Dice Ronin was another really fun one, which is always interesting because they just ended up kind of like combining in the end too. 101st and NT 63rd, all these rivalries over the years, but most of those happened for like a year or two, whereas G-Skill Thunder has been going on for, 15 years now? I don't even know how many times we've played against each other. Just on Anzio alone, I think we've played each other like 7 times in official matches now. So many championships against each other. We're obviously all friends with each other. We've all basically played together. I played on G-Skill. Taylor and Frank and Andrew and Chuck have all played with us as well. So this rivalry is great. And the big story for me was Savage playing in his first gold game and having to step into not only a gold game in this season where it's stacked, but a G-Skill Thunder game on Anzio. That's just like the craziest way to have to debut as a guy who just started playing the game last season, right? And gets the call up to gold here playing with G-Skill. I'm not even worried about the score at all. He had multiple big moments. We saw in that frag of the week there, that bridge break 3K was huge. In a game where it's 355 to 328, G-Skill over Thunder, a 27-point win in the end. I mean, that was huge. Very, very big moment for Savage. Fuck the score. In these games, scores are basically irrelevant. The G-Skill Thunder, the Dice Icy Hot, those kind of games. Like, it's all about the moments and being able to come up big in those moments. The rest of the time, it's so chaotic. Like, I mean, I died to Milo literally 6 times in a row at one point on Axis side. And I don't know what the rest of my team was doing, but I was very tilted because I was just the only guy dying to him over and over again and was like, can anybody, for the love of God, turn around and fucking shoot him, please? If I die one more time, I'm rage quitting this game right now. But yeah, like really, really impressive stuff from Savage, keeping his composure in those moments. That's like the craziest call-up you could ever probably receive as a first-time gold match play. And, he came up big when they needed him most. So, first half here, Axis side for us, we ended up squeaking out the win by 8 points. This was a really fucking back and forth half. I actually don't even know how we ended up winning this half. It didn't feel like it really. We did get a cap out late that I think pushed things in that direction a little bit more. And we were talking about this in my most recent cast. We got the cap out, and then me and Jared were like, hey, just don't go get team wiped and get capped on. What happens off the next initial? We basically get team wiped. We don't get capped on, but only because, I don't know, everybody got a clutch kill or 2 at the 1. But we almost, and that's the storyline for later, because what ends up happening in the dying minutes of the game, all we need to do is not get capped on. I don't really understand how we got into the position that we got into, to be honest. But Milo ends up getting through to our last flag. I don't know how many he killed along the way, like 6 or 7 guys. In the end, I killed him and was going for the last flag, and for some ungodly reason, he still had a nade after like 3 minutes of being alive, and he had dropped a bird egg on me, and it blew my ass up before I could get the flag. They cap out to take the lead, and they secure that win in the end. Milo was, I would say, the MVP of that game. I didn't cast it, so I don't really have the authority to be calling MVPs, but from playing in the game, I would say Milo was the MVP. I don't know what the score actually says, but he had definitely two of the biggest plays. The game-winning play when it comes to that cap-out streak. So, for Thunder here, 29 kills for J-Rod, getting in there ringing, just like old times, running around with the Stas on bridge being insane. 28 for Brian, doing the same with the car. 24 for me on the STG. I heavied. Not an easy ask in this situation, but I felt like I played okay. 24 for Jared, 21 for Jules, 20 for John, and on the G-Skill side, 24 for the Franker, 22 for Milo, including that, he killed me 6 times in a row, but I think he had 10 kills there in that run. 19 for Taylor and for Andrew, 18 for Chuck, 12 for Savage, and then on to the second half, they obviously end up winning by 35 with that cap out. We probably had time where if we could have gotten everything, we would have been able to make a push to try to cap out. I think we had a minute and a half or 2 minutes left, but they very quickly made that not an option. Again, in that situation, we capped out on allies, and then very specifically, let's just not get team wiped off this initial. And what happens? We lose. It goes from, we looked at it, and it was a 5-on-3 in our favor to a 3-on-2 in their favor. I don't know, just bad decision making. Also, I died because Andrew threw a nade from double window. I wasn't even I was just trying to get to safety, and his nade hit me. It was a perfectly thrown nade. So it's not all bad decision making necessarily on Thunder, though we are guilty of doing that a lot, very often. I look at that. Only one TK suicide on the G-Skill side here, and I actually know what it was. It was Frank got stuck on a pixel on bridge and had to type kill in console. So no TKs in this entire half. We had 3. And I actually definitely had one of them because our communication just completely broke down in the last minute and a half after we gave up that cap out. We had, somebody got TK'd on bridge, and then I thought, because of that TK, they were about to go for bridge, and somebody said Tiki, so I threw a nade at Tiki, but it's actually us in Tiki, and I naded the shit out of J-Rod. So, for Thunder, 25 kills for Yagoon. Wow, what a half for 25 kills. Good old Anzio, man. I love when a 30 bomb is an insane half. Anzio is such an important map in DoD to make it not just the same thing over and over again. It is so unique compared to the Lenin, Anzio, all these other maps where it's just a lot of chaos. Rail Yard now too. It's a unique beast. Wow, look at that. Taylor had 20 flag caps. That's insane. I did not notice that before. 23 for Brian, 22 for Jared, 22 for John, 19 for J-Rod, 17 for Jules. And on the G-Skill side, Milo with that 26, including that game-winning cap-out streak. 24 for Frank. Frank was absolutely insane in this half with the Unter. That's all I was hearing about during and after this game was man, Frank just kept insta one-shotting me with the Unter across the map. It's yeah, I think off the first initial, he had a fast 4K, a double Unter, and then picked up a sniper and got 2 sniper kills. I could be wrong that it was the first initial, but he did that off of one of the initials. Taylor with 22, Andrew with 21, Chuck with 18, Savage with 14, G-Skill, take another off of Thunder in the G-Skill Thunder rivalry, which at this point, it's in recent time, very one-sided for a rivalry. That's what we lost to them at the LAN twice. Well, a best of 3, so really 3 maps. And then they obviously beat us here, so that's 4 straight maps that we've lost to them. To find the last time we played against each other before that, you'd have to go back to 2013 or something, so kind of irrelevant, but huge win here for G-Skill. Obviously, after taking that fucking crazy game on Rail Yard, losing to Icy Hot by a very close margin, coming out, taking out Thunder, who beat Icy Hot earlier, right? The MMA math. You would think based on that, oh, well, Thunder beat Icy Hot. Icy Hot beat G-Skill. So that means Thunder beats G-Skill. No. Styles make fights. And that was a huge, huge win to get themselves up to, I believe, 2-1? Yep. So they're 2-1 now. We're 2-1. After Dice and Icy Hot play, we'll know where things stand. If Dice wins, they are by themselves in first place with a commanding lead there. They do play G-Skill this week, so we'll actually see that happen, I think, before Dice and Icy Hot play. So hypothetically, at that point, if Dice goes to 3-0, G-Skill 2-2, and then it depends on what we do. Or if G-Skill won, they'd be 3-1, Dice would be 2-1, and it would depend on what we do. But if we ended up 3-1, we technically wouldn't be in first. The tiebreaker will go to G-Skills. The division is crazy. The division is just crazy. All right. The other gold game, this was a big one here too. Seoul versus Over. I picked Over in this game, I'm pretty sure, and Seoul ends up winning by 43 points. This was a barn burner of a game. Really, really fun cast for me all around. We saw a lot of interesting things throughout this game between like some really crazy proning and fucking classic DOD on Anzio and big games, and then just insane mechanical ridiculousness by the guys you expect it from, of course. Was this the first half? I feel like that's not. I feel like they started on Axis, right? I think so. So Axis side for Seoul, they win on Axis side by, 58? 58. Jackson was monstrous in this half, going double windows. Such a good double windows player. Has his own style with how he does it, and it works so well for him. He's very, very precise with his nades. Like, he's usually, if he's throwing a nade, and I think this is true for him just all around, not just on Anzio and double windows, but he's a very, very strong nader. I think that is severely underrated about his game. Very, very good nader. He went 34-20. He top fragged by 6 over Booten, who had 28. We saw some of that in the frag of the week. 23 for Shreddies, 22 for Cam, 21 for Justin, 16 for Jared, and on the overside, 34 for Caffrey, of course. I mean, he was just all over the map with the bar being insane. No SZ for over here, so obviously that's a big guy to be missing. He's been one of the best players in DOD of late. Mata got in there instead. So yeah, it was 34 for Caffrey on the bar, 24 for Nightmare, 22 for Devin, 21 for Sokka, 19 for Kumkum, 16 for Mata, 58-point lead after the Axis side for Seoul, and then Over end up winning their Axis side, but just short of what they needed. It was another instance where, man, Over, I know I talk about this all the time, but it's because I really like Over, and I love the way they play the game, and I want to see them go get into a final in one of these seasons in gold. They've been around since the start of KTP and are always right around there, but I feel like it's always the one thing with them that they're just a little bit over aggressive, and they don't, even as a whole, you don't even need to go well, you guys all need to slow down. They just need one guy to slow down and say it aloud too, kind of direct traffic a little bit. Because in those moments, we see it with them a lot where it's oh, they just wiped out the whole team, so they're going to get the double cap now. And then they just all kind of run away from it, except one guy. Everybody pushes up to try to go get the other flags and get the cap out, but you can't get the cap out till you have mid, right? And it could be just communication lapses. It could be just over aggression. I don't know. But man, it just a little bit more passivity for them would make them so hard to beat. They're already so hard to beat. But they usually shoot themselves in the stump. And I'm saying stump because I don't have a foot. But yeah, I mean, that's just, that's what happened here again with Over. They were dominating play, and then they didn't get the double cap. They had a guy push up. They don't end up getting Plaza there. Things just fall apart from that moment. Then they work themselves back into getting both the double caps. It's just, I don't know. It's tough sometimes because they look so good, and then just one little small, what looks like a small mistake will be so pivotal in things turning around on them. It's always tough for me to see because I'm like, man, there we go. That's the over I've been talking about for 8 seasons. Like, these guys are insane. They're such a good team. They're so hard to beat. That's what I expect. And then all of a sudden, like, you'll see that moment again where it's like, oh, they like could have got the double cap and capped out here, but nobody got on the double cap. I don't know. It's a matter of I honestly believe just one guy just reining it in a little bit more. I think you can make it work with Nightmare. You know, Nightmare obviously as a sniper, he's like the perfect sniper. He's not ever going to be making those mistakes. I think you just need one more of the rest of the team to go like, all right, I'm going to make a conscious effort here to be the guy who doesn't run up first, who makes sure we're getting double caps, who's the first guy on the double cap and calling for somebody to go, who's falling back when I lose 2 teammates, you know, like just one more guy doing that, and I think over immediately becomes like 100% harder to play against right there. Just that little bit of a change. I think they are easily one of the best teams of the whole KTP era, even though they haven't like won a championship or anything. It's just they're always this little bit away, and Chi, I think, made that difference a lot last season for them. Just that one extra guy to slow things down a little bit, to do things like ninja capping, ninja breaking, things like that, you know, because the rest of over are so aggressive, man. They want to fuck your face off, and they do a lot of the time. It's just eventually you kind of know that's what's coming, and you can make it impossible for them to fuck your face off, right? I don't know. I talk about this all the time because I really love the guys on over, and I know that they are such a good team. It's just they always end up coming up just short, and it's usually a lot of the time for that reason. It's just 1 or 2 mental mistakes when it comes to over aggression and guys not hopping on the double cap, guys trying to push too much. And that's what happened in this game again. It looked like they were 100% about to win the game, and then things just took a turn. So 15-point win for them on the Axis side. 38-16 for Nightmare. He was a monster in this half. I mean, he was doing everything he could. Kum 29-19, same thing. Saka with 25, Devin with 25, Caffrey with 22, Mata with 14. On the Soul side, 28 for Jared. He had a great game. He had a huge 4K with the sniper and pizza that really helped to seal the deal for Soul. Went over, we're trying to flood out Plaza, and Jared picked up his natural class and just laid the smack down with it real fast for a fast 4K. I expected to see that in the frag of the week, but it wasn't there. 27 for Justin, of course, the god. 23 for Brandon, 22 for Cam, 19 for Shreddies, 18 for Craig. Huge win for Soul. Over, where are they at now? They're 0-3, and like that's one of the, I think, the least deserving 0-3s I've ever seen. They could easily, I don't know if they could easily be, no, they couldn't really easily be 3-0. Like the Dice game, they lost by quite a bit, but they could easily have won against G-Skill potentially and won against Soul here and be 2-1. But even in that Dice game, you know, like, I know I'm harping on it a little bit here, but in the Dice game, they came out flying. It was insane how hard they were fragging out on Dice for the first, like, 4 minutes of that game. And never got double capped. They were like double or tripling them in frags after 5 minutes. It was crazy how much they were dominating play, never getting a double cap because they kept hesitating to do it. Somebody would push up when they were the only 2 guys near the flag, and then by the time the next guy was able to get to the flag, well, of course, Dice has already respawned, and they're already really good at breaking shit. So when you give them the extra 10 seconds to figure out how they're going to break it, like, of course they're going to get it. So even in that game, like, that game should have at least been closer just because, like, realistically, over should have probably capped out in the first 5 minutes. They were dominating play so hard. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I'm sure they would love to figure this stuff out, you know? Like, you can guarantee that they're not just, like, out there consciously doing these things because they don't want to win, right? It's just, I guess, a matter of figuring out how they're going to do it. Okay. Wow. 1 hour and 14 minutes, and we have to do the predictions still. Golly fuck. Gargle my balls a little bit there. Okay. Let's do some predictions now. This is always the longer part. Let's see here. No-Go Rifle Nades is a good one. Rodeo Wickeds, the Ninja Uncle Rico's Time Machine. All right, so let's start off with Rodeo versus the Wickeds. Let me double check. I forget if Bullet sent me their lineup or not. Where's my dog at? There he at. Okay, so at least, so this is basically just for last week. So it was Jiraiya sniping, Ryan and Zap's main rifling, AZ and Bullet on the heavies, and Leto on the utility. Lucho is always available as a backup. We know Barinia not going to be available until when? Where was that? Going to be gone for the next 4 weeks. So Barinia not going to be available anytime soon. You know, that's really the thing with the Wickeds is just, can they get their best lineup on eventually? If they can, then that team also is very, very scary. We saw what Bullet and AZ can do last week. We know what Jiraiya is capable of. You get Zaps and Barinia in there as well, you know, and Ryan there, or Jiraiya Jr. or Lucho. Like, now that team's getting scary. On the Rodeo side of things, we've got so many question marks. I don't know what they're going to do here. Is Meep available maybe to start playing again? Even if he is, I think they're then still, they need another guy. Because, like, I think Nick is getting surgery. He's not going to be available in the playoffs. I guess Kicken is gone now. And Yarrow, who I don't even see on the roster. Is he Grunt on the roster here? I mean, it's got to be, right? That's got to be Yarrow. I'm a little confused. What? Maybe they just added Grunt? Do we have, like, a list of player transactions anywhere? Like, if not, maybe we should. Who's on this list? Pocho might be a good pickup for them. Sean, Wydra. Okay, Grunt was on this list here. So, yeah, I'm guessing Grunt got picked up for Yarrow. Okay. But, yeah. Point being, Rodeo's in trouble with their roster. The only things I can say for sure, CK, LASIK, Snipey, definitely, right? Those three. Nick, until the playoffs, 4. Kicken, not available. Titus, not really available. Bo, I assume the 5th. And then Grunt as the 6th. If Meep is not available, I would assume it would be Meep as the last guy if he can play. Meep is a really good player. I'd love to see him slot into that roster. I don't know, man. They might need, if Kicken's not going to be available, they might need to potentially remove him or Titus from the roster if they're not going to be able to play, and pick up somebody who they can really rely on to be there all the time and to be serviceable. Bronze is a fucking a shark's nest, man. You cannot fuck around in Bronze right now. You will lose to any of these teams if you're not minding your shit. So hopefully Rodeo can figure out the lineup situation here. We'll see what happens with that. I've got an inside source that will be able to inform me of any of the goings on there that I will probe that source deeply for information. All right, so this week it's Armory. The Wickeds, I think they've got a couple pretty good Armory players, to be honest. On the Rodeo side, you know what the story is going to be, right? CK is going to be a fucking menace on this map. I feel for the Wickeds that they have to deal with CK on this map because he is so tough to deal with on this thing. We've seen Snipies on this map from the land look really, really good. Jiraiya is going to have to be able to deal with Snipey. Nick over on the heavy route, and I'm assuming it'll be LASIK carring on the heavy route. I just don't know who the other heavy will be with Nick. Unclear at this point. It was Yarrow. It's no longer Yarrow. But yeah, that the lineup is the real questions with Rodeo here going forward. This is, I think, going to be a major turning point for the Rodeo to dictate whether they are potentially going to win Bronze or just kind of fall off here when it comes to having to be able to beat the other big dogs in the Bronze division. Figuring out this roster situation is fucking number one. That is very important. On Armory in this map, I think that they've got enough weapons this week to be able to deal with the Wickeds. Like, if Wickeds is unless Wickeds is going to have their best 6 out there, then it's a bit of a tougher hill to climb. I think they still would do it. Just, I don't know. I don't know what to expect out of Rodeo here. I think they need to make one more roster move, and I think it needs to be a pretty good one. Obviously, it needs to be approved by an admin, right? It's not like they can go pick fucking Toxinator up, but they can find a solid player there, just a solid player who is going to always be available. That would be very, very big. And then if Meep is going to be available, because he is also a very, very good player. If Meep is going to be around all the time, and hypothetically they can have Bo or Grunt playing in the 5th spot and Meep in the 6th spot, or Titus in one of those spots, okay, they're good. But if none of those guys are going to be able to be available, then they need to clear off one of the unavailable players and get a reliable 6/7th man. I'm taking the Rodeo here because I know what CK and Snipey are capable of on this map. And with them on bridge and then Nick and Craig on the other side, that's just a lot of weapons they have to deal with in the bronze division. That's a lot. I think they probably win by like 120, because CK will ninja cap multiple times in this game. Even though it's coming, the chaos of CK, you can never know when it's coming. And he's very good at he even ninja capped on Thunder multiple times, as in against Thunder. He also did it for us at the LAN, but he did it against us as well multiple times with Bandits. So it's a tough draw for the Wickeds on Armory here. Like, I would have rather played anybody else, I think, on Armory than this motherfucking team with CK and Snipies on it. All right, next on the list, what have we here? The Ninja versus Uncle Rico's Time Machine. So for the Ninja, there's a lot of questions with so many rosters, man. I still don't really know what's going on with the Ninja here. Miller seems like he's always playing. Bestia's always playing. Seems like Steve is always in there. They've had Saber play the last 2 weeks. So is he? I don't even see him on the roster. I guess he's like a designated ringer for them right now. Woody as well. Woody looks so good in that Lennon game. Verb been playing. No aim tech. I'm assuming no aim tech ever again. We haven't seen Shogun yet. Is Colby going to be available? This would be a good time for them to get Colby back in the mix. I know Colby didn't like playing in gold, like first thing back into the game, having to go be playing against Thunder and G-Skill and all that shit. That's tough, but this is a good way to ease himself back into it. If anyone can get a hold of Colby, this is the time for him to start playing again, to be honest. But is Illusion going to play as well? That's the really big question mark. Is Mike going to play? When he's around, that immediately makes the Ninja, twice as dangerous. Even if he's not, though, I hope this team keeps playing. I've really liked what I've seen out of the Call of Duty players, man. It's been so fun to watch them progress in this game. We've seen what they're capable of mechanically, and the rest of the stuff just comes with getting hours in. It's a grind for sure. It doesn't come quick, but not many things do. But it is worth it to stick around. And then wait, Uncle Rico's Time Machine side, we have Nick, Kevin, G, Cadaver, Ian, and ST Kevin, another double Kevin team, which we always love to see, only it's not 2 ST Kevins. So we just know ST Kevin and Kevin. Uncle Rico's Time Machine, they looked maybe like they were going to go undefeated up until losing to Rifle Nades. And they, for all intents and purposes, probably should have won that game. They didn't, so what does that matter that they should have? It doesn't. Armory here, so the snipers are going to be important. Steve versus Head Like a Hole. Steve's really good mechanically, and on this map, it's kind of straightforward, right? There's just 2 fucking lofts, and you stand in the lofts, and the guys are peeking from everywhere, and you just got to be able to hit your shots. So that bodes well on the side of things for the newer players onto Ninja. The map is relatively simple in its structure. Now, it's not so simple when it comes to its pace of play and its meta. There's a lot of fucking, nadiness on it, of course, and I don't know. It's definitely a map that there's a learning curve to. So hopefully they've been able to at least play in scrims and 12-mans a bit. Again, though, a tough draw for them, just in general here. Like, no matter what, even if they had both Illusion and Aim Tech playing, this is a tough draw. Uncle Rico's Time Machine looks great. I'm going to be curious to see Cadaver and Ian on this map. Has Ian played this map? He played Murderette, obviously, but so he's going to be fine on the bridge if he's going that way. But the heavy route and the rest of the map, it's kind of like not really Murderette. I think he'll be fine, to be honest, even if he hasn't played it. He's got really, really fucking good mechanics. And the map is going to be straightforward enough on either route that he's just got to hit his shots. And he will. We just saw him hit, the majority of his shots in that Anzio game. Of course, Stark will have a big game here, going the heavy route. We've seen it time and time again with him. You got to go with Uncle Rico's Time Machine here, but I'm hoping the Ninja can get their best 6 out there, because I really like the potential of that team, and I don't want to see the team end up demoralized because they can't get like the players on that they expect to have on, right? Like coming over to a new game, I was so excited to see them, and I really want to see them stick it out because I think they have a lot of potential from what I've seen, and I just hope that they don't get, emo about things in this season because guys that were on the team are not able to play or don't want to play or whatever. It would be unfortunate to see, 4 new players that with so much potential end up not sticking around in DoD. Because I think that they can be really good players. How many times have we seen it now? Guys coming over to DoD from whether it's Source most of the time, but like Asani, Savage, Insight, Arachnid, Azilla. All these guys are fucking insane players. I didn't want to just keep T, but T also played 1.3 back in the day, right? Colin, who is on over now, which is exciting. Colin is such a good player. I'm so glad he's back in 1.3 because it was crazy to me that he wasn't still playing. I know like he had issues within the community and stuff, but like he's such a fucking good player. I wanted to see this guy play more DoD. He was always good for cast material. There's a lot of examples of players coming over from other games and developing into stud 1.3 players. So I hope the guys on the Ninja do stick it out and aren't discouraged about DoD because of, roster problems in this season for them. You got to take Uncle Rico's Time Machine here. I'd say, I guess I really don't know because I don't know how much the Ninja guys have gotten to play the map, but I think, Woody, Steve, Verb, they're not going to have too much problem figuring that side of things out. They're going to hit their shots. They're going to peek stuff and shoot it. It's like the nades and the rotations and stuff that get a little bit more complex. So I'd say 100 points, 80 in that range. It's 40 points for a cap out, so it's not quite the same as Anzio where it's 60 points for a cap out. All right, and on to the last one, the match of the week. No-Go versus Rifle Nades. This is a big one, man. So Rifle Nades side, last week we had Arachnid, Azilla, Firo, Celts, Celts, I did it that time, Chrono, and Henry. We know Boom, very capable of showing up and playing any time. For the No-Go side, it's a lot less clear. We've seen everyone in this lineup basically play for them at one time or another. Besides Solid so far, he hasn't played yet, which I would love to see him play again too. Another old player. Old, he's not old, but he's from the 2000s. So for last week, it was Dedro, Koi, Quarter, Kush, Greg. Actually, no, Koi wasn't playing, I don't think. Dedro, Quarter, Kush, Greg, Blue, and Jamie. Koi played the week before that, and I think Blue didn't. I don't quote me on that. I could be wrong, but regardless, man, I don't know. This is an interesting one. Arachnid versus Quarter is going to be a fun sniper matchup on Armory. I'm sure neither of them actually like the map because it's a sniper map that snipers hate. Trust me. Darren is one of the best snipers on it, and he hates it too. I don't know that there's any snipers that particularly like Armory, but they all do well on it. And both these snipers are going to have their hands full here. I'm curious to see what the rifle team looks like for Nogo. On the rifle nade side, you know what you're going to get. Zilla's going to go out there and get 60-plus kills and have a great game. Where is he going? Is he going bridge? Is he going heavy route? That's the question. I think you've got Chrono over on the heavy route. I maybe would send Zilla bridge. Have like Firo, Chrono, and whoever's going to be the other heavy, whether it's Henry or Boom or if Celts happens to do it. I personally would probably send Zilla over to bridge just because I feel like because there's a flag on each side, it gets lost just in the moment a lot of times, but the bridge is actually more important than the heavy route because it's a double cap. It's worth 2 points. So if you have the heavy side flag and the other team has the bridge, you might be thinking like, oh, we have even control of the map right now, but they're actually doubling your points every 30 seconds. So bridge is important, and I know the heavy route is the more fun route and the less chaotic and nady route, but bridge, very, very important when it comes to actually winning the game. So yeah, I'll be curious to see what they do route-wise on rifle nades, and for Nogo, what their lineup actually looks like and who's playing what class. You got to figure, like, Greg on a heavy for sure. Who will the other heavy be? Is Blue playing again? Who's playing, really? Who's playing? We saw Cushy heavy on Lennon, but then we saw him rifle last week. We know he can do anything. Deidro, probably rifle. If Koi plays, probably rifles. Jamie's been only rifling. If Matthew plays, he can play anything. Solid could probably play anything, too, although I don't know when he last played DOD. This is going to be, I keep saying this like every matchup, this is going to be very telling for what the future holds in this division. It might not be. Like, you could see Rifle Nades win this game against Nogo, and then fast forward to the end of the season, and they played each other again, and Nogo won that game, and Nogo takes first place in the division. We don't know. This DOD does not work that way. When there's evenly matched teams, anything can happen. Based upon the map and who shows up that week and who has a good game and who has a bad game, blah, 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 blah. I mean, Rifle Nades, they looked really good on Anzi. I mean, they squeaked out, and to me, that's always, those character building wins or losses are the most important ones. Like, we see blowouts all the time. It's those single-digit wins or losses that build teamwork and character as a team more than anything. Obviously, Nogo's been playing together forever. They've had plenty of those games, too. But for Rifle Nades, having a game like that early and prevailing in it is very, very helpful for what's to come in future close-ass games. I'm going to go... I don't know. I wish I knew exactly what Nogo's lineup was. That would help me here to be able to actually make a prediction. I still think it's pretty close to 50-50. Let me play Spin the Zin. Oh, wait, no, I didn't say who was what. So the heads will be Nogo. The tails will be Rifle Nades. And Spin the Zin says Rifle Nades by 3 points again. Rifle Nades going to go on a streak of 8 straight matches that they win by 3 points. That's not going to happen. That would be pretty much impossible. But I'm going with Rifle Nades here. But I think this is a literal coin flip of a game. If I knew exactly who was going to be in for Nogo, I could probably make a little bit more accurate of a prediction. It's just there's too many question marks over who might be playing and what classes they might be playing for me to really be able to confidently say what I think is going to happen here. But overall, it's going to be a 50-50 game regardless. All right. Silver time. Oof. Banger after banger after banger. So no best buds this week. They do have a makeup match to play against Volvo to try to stay undefeated, but they get the bye on Armory, those lucky sons of bitches. Although they don't get a bye on Solitude, so ha ha. What's the match of the week, man? I don't know. In this division, there seems to always be 2 matches of the week, and I think it's pretty clear it's these 2 at the top again. This game also, I think, could be really good. You never know with Emo Frag Squad right now. We saw them look like an absolute well-oiled machine for the majority of the rail yard game. And then in the Anzio game, they had a couple of kind of sketchy moments where they looked the opposite of a well-oiled machine. They looked like a poorly oiled machine. A creaky machine, you might say. So best buds I'm going to take to win against Bye. MVP is Nicholson Eats Ass. On the expired versus Volvo front. Oh, nope. Teams. So Volvo does officially have Sean Luke now on the roster. I like to see that. Good for Sean. Getting in the mix here for Volvo. We saw him play for them on Rail Yard when they were missing Toki. So Scotty on a heavy, Manor on a heavy, Toki on a sniper, Kingyo, Wua, and Yanni likely on the rifles. And if Sean Luke is playing, he's probably taking up a rifle as well. Where are we? Who are they playing against? How did I already just forget who they were playing against? Expired. For expired, Raven on a sniper, Pizza on a rifle, SQ on a rifle, Anna on a rifle, Fincher and Super on the heavies. I'm sure if they're missing either of those guys, they can just have Pocho coming in and heavy for them. Great heavy. Now, you might think because Volvo hasn't won yet that makes it obvious Expired is going to win this game, but it's Armory, and this team, and in particular, Toki, so good on this map. Kingyo, so good on this map. This is a tough game, I think, for Expired here. Certainly, Raven going to be important. Sniping against Toki, he's got to deal with Toki, because Toki's probably got like a career 2-to-1 KD on this map with like an average of 30 kills a half. So good on it. Kingyo's nades are imperative for Volvo to be able to win. Man, I don't know on this game. I don't know. I think there's a couple maps that I would say Expired for sure. But Armory is one of these maps where I'm like, fuck, man, I don't know. Volvo might win this game. There's a lot of firepower coming out of Expired always, of course, and occasionally they can shoot themselves in the stump with running by double caps and being overly aggressive and stuff, which on a map like this can really, really bite you in the ass. This map can turn around so fast compared to the average. Fincher's excellent at this map. That's going to be a hurdle for Volvo to climb. The heavies, Manor and Scotty, going to need to be able to deal with Fincher and Super over there. That is a hell of a heavy team. The Raven versus Toki matchup, obviously very important. SQ, where's he going? Is Anna going bridge? Is SQ going bridge? Who's going bridge? Pizza Hut will, of course, be a stalwart on the bridge. The Pizza Hut versus Kingyo battle will be fun. I'm guessing Anna goes bridge and SQ goes the heavy side, which makes the heavy side extra fucking tough when you got SQ, Fincher, and Super over there. The thing is, bridge, again, if you could have this whole game go where like, oh, Expired as the heavy route and Volvo as the bridge. Volvo wins the match by a lot, by a 2-to-1 ratio. They will have doubled them in points. That's not anything that's ever going to happen with any teams, obviously. The caps will get traded back and forth. But if Volvo can do a good job of controlling bridge the majority of the game, kind of, pooling their resources in the bridge area and basically sticking the heavy side in a perimeter, not letting the heavy side just have impact all over the map, just kind of forcing them to be stuck on that route. Not necessarily Volvo having control of it all the time, but making the Expired guys get impatient because they are aggressive players and they will get impatient eventually. That's what I would do. If I was on Volvo for this matchup, it would be we focus on the bridge, we play containment, prevent defense on the heavy route, we force out a mistake, we make them have to come to us on the heavy route side, make them have to go try to play rotations on the bridge and walk into long-range battles with the heavies, force limited engagements for those players over there, and make sure that the bridge is under lock and key on the back of Toki. That's, I think, the best strategy for Volvo here. And again, I could be totally wrong about the routes and the classes and everything. It's always possible, but just from a baseline, that's what I think is going to go on. I'm going to take Expired here. I'm going to take Expired by 20 points or so, but with an extremely large margin of error there, because Volvo could actually run away with this game very easily. They are so good at this map. I cannot overstate that. If Expired are not taking this game seriously, that will bite them in the ass, but I know Expired, they are definitely going to take this game seriously. They're definitely scrimming. They're getting ready for this. But yeah, this game could go either way. I'm very, very interested to see this game. I don't know if I get to cast it. I already forgot if I was going to get to cast it or not. Well, okay, yeah. That's a 4 o'clock game, so I think I do. I get, hypothetically, to do Expired Clan X and Expired Volvo. Lots of Expired games that day. The 3 o'clock games I don't get to do. Man, that's a lot of DOD for some of these guys. Clan X play at 2 and at 3. Expired play at 2 and 4. For a second, I thought they were playing 3 games. No, just 2 and 4. Okay. So back-to-back matches. You know, it's basically like a playoff scenario there. What's going on over on the recruitment side of things, dog? PDX for bronze. What's going on here? What got approved? Change our team name to Herd of Cats. Oh my god. Okay. All right. On to the next. Where were we here? Emo Frag Squad versus Band of Morons. This is an unfortunate draw for Emo Frag Squad to get Band of Morons on this map in particular, which I would say is the signature map of multiple players on Band of Morons. I mean, again, this is just in my little reality from the casts I do, calling it a signature map for Darren, for Insight, and for Crawd, but I have seen those 3 guys have so many insane games on this map. I just consider it to be their signature map. This is the last map I would want to play Band of Morons on. Even in gold. Like, this is the team that I would not want to play on this map. For Emo Frag Squad, their hands are going to be full this week, but it's doable. For Band of Morons, you're going to have Cody on a rifle. You're going to have James on a rifle. You're going to have Paul on a rifle. You're going to have Insight and Crawd on the heavies. That is a hell of a heavy team right there. And you're going to have Darren on the sniper. For Emo Frag Squad, Matt and J-Rod on the heavies. They're going to have to find a way to deal with that box hall side of the map with Crawd and Insight over there. Steve, Saf, and Apple on the rifles, and Ian on the sniper. Ian versus Nicholson is a great sniper matchup. You know, that's probably step 1, is don't let Nicholson be too comfortable if Emo Frag Squad want to win this game. If Darren just gets into the flow state in loft and feels safe up there, and like he can just, you know, go for picks, then he's probably going to go like 35 and 10 both halves, and you're never going to get on bridge. So that's number 1. Number 2 is dealing with the box hall side of the map, because Crawd and Insight on that side of the map is going to be a lot. And then obviously, again, bridge. Bridge is so important on this map for the extra tick point every tick. If you can be the team controlling bridge for the majority of the game, odds are you've won the game, regardless of what happens on the box hall side. Because then if you get the box hall side in those instances, it's just even another tick for you and one less for them. So bridge is important. I don't know what the answer is here. Like, I can say bridge is important all you want, but then you're still dealing with Darren on bridge and potentially James on bridge or Cody on bridge or D-Frat. Like, I don't know who's going to actually be the one going bridge there, but, you know, you take Band of Morons here for sure. You got to take Band of Morons here. I'd take Band of Morons on this map against any team, period, in silver. I would not pick against Band of Morons on this map. I just wouldn't. This is probably the map that like they should want to play in a playoff series for their map pick. And I suspect we will see that in this matchup. But for Emo Frag Squad, there's definitely ways to win this game. Band of Morons is not infallible on Armory. They're just really good at it. We've seen plenty of teams lose maps that they're really good at. I mean, we just lost on Anzio, right? It happens. So this is not an unwinnable game. I think there are pretty clear ways to win this game. Again, it's just a matter of getting the pieces into the right places and then those players having a good game. Because, what if everyone on Band of Morons just having a bad day, right? Like, that could happen too, and Emo Frag Squad could win that way. These things happen. Players have off days. You never know what's going to happen in that regard, but it's a winnable game for Emo Frag Squad. I can't pick against Band of Morons on Armory. This is too much of an Armory team to pick against them on it. I would say Band of Morons by like 60. But, again, You get a big game out of like J-Rod, out of Matt, out of Ian. Things get closer, and then any one of the rifles having a big game starts to tilt things into that direction for Emo Squad. We will see. I will most likely cast that game. I forget what time it's at. All right, Price is Right versus Clinic in the first match of the week on the silver side of things here. When was that game? We don't know yet. We'll find out. We will find out. For Price is Right, generally speaking, Tony, Caleb, Corey, Pibian? Question mark? When Pibian's there, that team is even scarier. Riv, and then Leo, of course. Star players left and right on this team. If Pibian's not there, you probably got Trance in there on the sniper. Pibian on this map is a fucking nightmare to have to deal with, though. I'm sure Price is Right would prefer to have him there. And then on the Clinic side, you got Tom, I assume most likely sniping, Sam on a rifle, if Insam's there on a rifle, Vic on a heavy, Debo if he's there on a heavy, Alan can play anything, Suave probably on a rifle, Walter probably on a heavy or a third. They got like 8 guys that could be playing week in and week out. It doesn't really matter which one of them is playing. They're such a good team, and all their players are just fucking good at the game. This is a 50-50 game, man. Price is Right got some nice Armory players, though. Like, if Pibian is there, big time right there. Tom versus Pibian. What a sniper matchup on Armory. We've seen them both have huge games sniping that map. I think if you were to say which of these teams prefer Armory more, I would say Price is Right probably prefer Armory more. Riv is a really good Armory player too. Corey is a really good Armory player. Caleb is a really good Armory player. We haven't really seen Leo play Armory. I played against him in Season 1 on the old Armory. But since then, the last time he played Armory was probably Did we even play in Season 4? Maybe in Season 4? Maybe? I don't know. But I think Price is Right maybe prefer Armory a bit more than Clinic actually do. I don't know. This is a tough one. Vic and Debo on the heavy side, I assume up against Riv and Tony and Leo. Corey's usually a bridge player. Caleb will probably be on bridge / in the water. And then, of course, Pibian and Loft up against Tom. Man. Fuck. I don't know. This is another one that will tell us a lot about how things look in a playoff series, right? Because Clinic versus Price is Right could easily be a final. It could easily be a semifinal. Man, I don't know. This is such a coin flip of a game, and I can't keep pussying out and not picking a winner in these games and leaving it up to fate. It's like I want to go with Clinic, and then I think about the insane players on Price is Right side, and I'm just like, can I pick against them? I'm gonna go with Clinic. Right now, but this is such a coin flip of a game, and it wouldn't take much to turn things back in the other direction, to be honest with you. One extra strong game out of like Leo or Riv or Corey, and all of a sudden things are getting a lot more difficult. Clinic, I think, is less reliant on having specific players like go off. They will have players go off. It really doesn't matter who it is. They'll have 3 guys put up a bunch of kills. Yeah, I don't know. Like, this, I think, comes down to single digits, at most double digits. I'm going with Clinic, but it's mostly just because, like, I always pick for Clinic. I almost feel like I might be jinxing them, but I don't want to pick against them. I feel like they lost a game, and that got the loss out of the way, and I didn't think they were going to lose this season at all. And so in my head, I'm like, they can't possibly lose back-to-back. I just don't. I feel like that's not likely. But, man, what a game to have to play coming off of that loss, going on to Armory against Price is Right. That is a crazy, crazy fucking matchup, man. I don't know. I don't even feel good about that pick at all right now. Like that, I should have just flipped a coin because I don't know. That's such a good match. That could be a finals preview very easily. And speaking of that, we got another one that could be a finals preview very easily. Clan X versus Game Violation Multi-Hack. So didn't mean to click that. For GVMH, we know we got Raleigh, No Name, and Hooli. Then we had Aki, Pijisku, and Sango playing last week. Just continuing to track the growth of Aki, Pijisku, and Sango coming over from Source, looking really, really good on Anzio against Price is Right last week. The Clan X side, some question marks. I understand Clan X is likely about to be adding a player to their roster. I was told that there's a Storm a-coming. And, ooh, boy, does that make this team even scarier if you're going to add Storm, All-Star, Sniper, and then be able to move Nitrox onto any other class. He's been excellent on the Sniper, but I don't think is like a natural sniper. You could put him on a rifle now. You could be looking at a rifle team of like Nitrox, Rafinha, and Bitch X, right? And then Storm on the Sniper, Bud and Matt on the heavies, Bud and anybody on the heavies. I don't know. I don't know what the actual planned six is necessarily for this team, but it's another team where it like kind of doesn't matter. If they're picking up Storm, that's another all-star player to add to the mix here. Losing Empy is a huge loss, though, because he was mainly heavying. So you had a heavy team of Bud and Empy that was very, very scary. Bud and Matt, still really good heavy team. They play together a lot. It allows Bud to extend a little bit more and be more aggressive, I think, which is a good thing because Bud's an insane player. Oof, Armory. Hooli versus Nitrox, I'm assuming, will still be sniping this week. That's a fucking amazing sniper battle on Armory. I figure No Name's probably gonna go Bridge. I don't know that for sure. You could definitely send No Name either direction, to be honest. That I have no idea. Like route-wise in this case. No Name against Rafinha, though, is another fun head-to-head duel we're about to see here of just extremely fucking insane players going head-to-head. The heavy route side, of course, Pijisku and Aki going to be going up against, I assume, Bud and Matt. Shit, man, I don't know. I've only got to see No Name play Armory a couple times. He's going to be insane on it, of course. Hooli, I've never got to see him play Armory, but it's a good sniper map with lofts and cover. He's going to be good. Fuck me, man. I don't know. I do not know. This is another one where it's like just, I'm not afraid of picking games. I'm not afraid to say like this team is going to lose, this team's going to win. I just don't know for these two games, like what my instincts are telling me about who wins these games. Especially when there's a roster kind of up in the air. Like Clan X, I don't really know who's going to be playing. Is Lobaton going to be playing? Is Manga going to be playing? Is Man going to be playing? Is Storm going to get added to the roster and he's going to be playing and then Nitrox is on a different class? I have no idea. Makes it a lot tougher for me to say for sure. There's definitely lineups where I would lean more towards Clan X. On this map, I'm not saying that I would necessarily pick that on all maps, just on this map. It's going to be interesting. The way things are segmented, obviously you can have impact from either route to the other route. It's just a little bit harder to do so at a high level. You got to kind of find gaps to be able to really, really put in impact from another route. And, there are players on these teams that are good at finding gaps anyways, so it's not out of the question. Ooh, man. I don't know. My gut's saying Clan X. But after seeing GVMH last week against Price is Right on Anzio, how do you pick against that? I don't know that I can, in good faith, pick against it. Fuck, man. Let me look at the standings. What's the most interesting way for the standings to work out here? They're 1-1. Clan X is 1-1. So it doesn't really get much change there. Either way, you get 1-1-2 team and 1-1-1 team out of it. Oh. I am going to go with Clan X here. I'm going to go with Clan X by 8 points. But again, I wouldn't bet anything on that. I have no confidence in that pick at all. This is a coin flip of a game. They're going to have to obviously be able to come out ahead in the exchange of however many kills No Name, Raleigh, and Hooli are going to get. And then, with Pijisku and Aki over on the heavy route, they're going to have their hands full with Bud and Matt and Rafinha, probably. Sniper matchup is so fun on this map, though. Whoever snipes for Clan X, even if it's not Nitrox, if it's manned, if it is Storm, this is a chance again for Hooli to go out there and just be like, by the way, anyone who didn't already know who I was, here's another 75 kills, just to let you know. And very easily, that alone, like just Hooli going off on bridge, might be enough to tilt it back in GVMH's favor very, very quickly. No Name is going to have at least 60 kills. Raleigh's going to be right there as well. Clan X is going to have their players on their shit in this game. One bad game from anybody on Clan X, and it goes the other direction so fast. Clan X need to be peak right now in this game. Any mistakes will cost them in spades against this team. No Name will remove all of your heads. Hooli will remove all of your heads. Raleigh will remove all of your heads. Gotta be hitting shots. Gotta be in good positioning. Gotta be hitting the nades. More importantly, maybe, than hitting your shots. Because if you can just avoid taking fights with insane players, that's always the better option. But yeah, I'm going with Clan X here, but I honestly just flip a coin, and you're going to be more confident in what that coin said than anything I just said about who wins this game. Okay, where are we at? Oh my god. All right, so we play over. Good luck, have fun to over. For Thunder, it'll be the usual Tox, Jagon, Jules, Dorito, Ryan, Emo, John, Gale. For over, Kum, Devin, Caffrey, Sokka, SC, Nightmare, I assume. If they're missing someone, Mata, or if they're missing Nightmare, Nick, or whatever, or Jizz. Over's really good at this map. I don't look forward to this. Honestly, I feel like we're going to lose this game just to make gold even crazier this season. They're very good on this map. And obviously, Nightmare. Like, what are you supposed to do against him on this map? I don't know. We almost lost to them on TMC last season. And we had some really good Armory players on TMC. So, and we have not scrimmed this week. I don't know if John Gale has ever sniped on Armory. So, and now Dorito as well. Brian's going to he's been going box haul, and getting ready for the LAN and everything, and now he's going to have to go back over to bridge, so he's going to be on a route that he's not really played much in the last, year. I feel like the deck is a little bit stacked against us here. I don't feel confident going into this game, but you never know. Maybe just Toxinator will get 100 kills like he did against T3 in Season 1, and it won't matter what the rest of us are doing. Hopefully, because I'd like to win. But we got our hands full here, baby. That heavy route is going to be quite a battle of Caffrey and SC versus Jules and Ryan. That's, woof. Good luck. Have fun to the heavy route, guys, because not a lot of kills left for the rifles after those 4 guys get done picking the bones. Okay. Next up. Ooh, we got Soul. The Dice G-Skill game is obviously match of the week. That's a rematch from the LAN. Not just the fact Dice versus G-Skill, but on this map in particular. Soul versus Icy Hot. So for Soul, obviously PB's going to play. The Bear, Jackson, Jared, all got in there. Shreddies has been playing most of the time. Last week they were missing Blackhawk. Booten has played 2 weeks in a row now, so I'm guessing Brandon is just back and fragging. I don't know. I don't really know when it comes to the Soul roster what the 6 is supposed to be. That's a real question mark. But they also have Ryan who can come in. He came in and played against us in the second half when Brandon's laptop died. Obviously, Jordan can come in at any time. Lots of question marks there. But for Icy Hot, Jesse, William, Sean, Justin, Ben, Chi. I don't know if Mitch is available to play yet or not. Casey, it seems like not available to play, but T definitely available to play if someone is missing. Armory. PB, amazing at this map. We've seen Craig be really strong on this map. Based on how Brandon was playing on Anzio, he might be a very big X factor on the heavy route with potentially frustrating Icy Hot. Like, he is very willing to do weird, crazy, prony, ninja-y shit, and that is frustrating to play against. Trust me. That's sometimes that's a strat, man. Like, if you can frustrate the other team and get them to make unforced errors, that's always something that can be helpful. And we've seen Jared be excellent at this map. Cam versus Ben, fun sniper matchup, of course. Ben is really tough to deal with on this map, let me tell you. He is very tough to deal with on this map. But, I mean, Icy Hot is just so good on Armory in general. They are a strong Armory team with a lot of strong Armory players. Certainly, if Mitch was playing too, that would make it even more so because he is a signature Armory player. Not sure who's going to be going where and who's going to be playing with what rifle. On this map, I'm a little unsure what I would do if I'm Icy Hot, to be honest. I think both Sean and really all three of their rifles, I think, would prefer to go box haul. We saw at the LAN Williams Stost on bridge, and then Sean went box haul. I don't know what I would do here for them. They I'm sure have it already figured out, but I was talking about how on a lot of maps I think their best bet is having Sean Stoss, but I don't know about that on this map. I'm not sure I would say that. I think on this map I would maybe have Chi Stoss. I mean, Sick found success with the Stoss on this map. He had a pretty clear idea of what he wanted to do based on what I saw, and it worked a lot of the time. So they could always just go back to doing that and have Chi with the car. I don't know, man. Sean, I mean, with TMC, Sean played great on bridge with the car, too. He is very capable of just going bridge. I just don't know if he'd want to go bridge. Everybody wants to be the guy going box haul because it's easier and more fun and less nady. But bridge is more important, and if you have a guy who can go bridge with the rifles and put up 70 kills, that is way more important than having a guy doing it from box haul side. Obviously, Axis side, you can be rope, you can be affecting bridge, you can be boardwalk on allies affecting bridge, but you're not there the majority of the time, and you can't just have everybody up in the box haul all the time with bridge being left hung out to dry. You just can't do that. That's how teams lose games they should win on Armory. So I don't know. I don't know what I'd do. I'm picking Icy Hot for sure. This is a good map for them. I think they should win this game here just because I know how strong they are on Armory. And whoever ends up on the Stas, on the car, whatever route they go, I think they should still win this game. But do not take Seoul for granted because we just saw them beat over. PB is ridiculous on this map. I mean, how many kills did he have in that game at the LAN? Like 58 or something like that. And a half like that is enough to turn the game around for Seoul. It's just a lot to overcome for Seoul when it comes to the players on Icy Hot. They all can take over the game in an instant. Any one of the six of them, very capable of it on any map, but especially on this one. I've seen it out of them so many times. I take Icy Hot here by like 80. But yeah, I don't know. I just have question marks around who's going to be doing what for Icy Hot, but that doesn't change my pick at all. It just was kind of something when I looked at the team, I was like, oh yeah, I guess I don't really know what I would do here. Because even though I did say I think I would, if I was making the lineup, I would put Sean on the Stas because he's so good on the Stas. He can get as many kills. It's a Toxinator thing, right? Like, to me, I never agree with Tox necessarily carring. I mean, there's lineups where it can make sense because you have a Stas who can also have impact. But if you can have that same roughly level of impact coming with the car on somebody else who's not going to be able to put up 70 kills with the Stas, then it always makes sense to do it the other way. And Sean is just, to me, so good with the Stas and you can send him whatever route with it. Like, you don't have to send him the classic third rifle routes. You can send him into any sort of crazy, chaotic situation, and now he has a semi-automatic rifle to be able to just pick off 4 of you at a time, right? To me, on a lot of maps, I personally just think that that's their best bet, but I don't know if I would say that on this map. It's worth a shot. I mean, if they've gotten chances to scrim it, I certainly would have been like, hey, Sean, give it a shot, Stasing. Go whatever route you want. We'll figure it out. But yeah, on this map, it's not. I don't feel that way as much, just because it's just kind of a weird map in that regard. But I mean, hey, just because that wasn't the first thing I thought of doesn't mean that's not the right move either. Like, imagine that Sean on bridge just like picking the sniper out of loft, picking a guy off boardwalk, picking a guy out back cave, and now, they're in rope. He just picked off both of them with 2 bullets. Like, he's capable of that with the semi-automatic rifle. He doesn't have to take the time to stop, unpeak, let the rifle recock, repeak. Now he can just stand out in the middle of nowhere, hit a bunch of perfect counter strafes, and hit 5 headshots in a row. That's really, to me, if you have a guy who can get basically the same value out of a Stas that he can with the car, I always think you should put that guy on the Stas. Because there's no, you can count on one hand the number of players, really, that there have ever been who are capable of that, and he is one of them. So that's why I always talk about that. But this map, it's not really a map that I'm as gung-ho about it. Like, I think this map is a map where you might want Sean on the car there. All right, and then the G-Skill versus Dice game. This is a rematch of a group play. Was it a group play game? Yeah, I think it had to have been a group play game, which G-Skill won. So for G-Skill, again, just generally here, because they can be missing a guy, Taylor and Milo on the heavies, Andrew on a rifle, Frank on a rifle, Colin on a rifle, but if they're missing anybody, you got Savage, you got Linus, you got Scott, it doesn't matter, you got insane players there. Chuck on a sniper, the team to beat in DOD right now, and then Dice looking for some vengeance here. Kevin, Matt, Paul, Alex, Johnny, Chris, what a team. If they're missing anybody, they've got so many good backups as well. Good team on Armory as well, Dice. They beat Icy out on Armory at the LAN, obviously, to clinch that best of 3 in the semifinal. That was later in the tournament after they had played G-Skill on this map. And I know in talking with G-Skill, at the LAN about it, they felt like Dice figured out Armory even more in the back half of the game that they were playing each other on. So even though G-Skill did beat them on Armory at the LAN, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's going to happen here, because G-Skill themselves felt like Dice figured that map out on the fly in that game. And then sure enough, Dice does go on to beat Icy out on it later on. So I think G-Skill's inclination was correct in that regard. This is the most 50-50 of all of them. Does G-Skill have their main 6? That's certainly a big question. Is Colin there? Colin was very important for them on Armory. With the Stas being kind of that stabilizing agent on the bridge. Obviously, Chuck versus Stealth is just that. I would not want to be either guy in this situation. I would not want to have to be the sniper to play against either of them on this map. We know. Well, okay, maybe you guys don't know because I've been making the G-Skill movie, but I know what Frank is capable of on this map. I know what Andrew is capable of on this map. And we know what Matt and Alex are capable of. The matchups individually here, position for position, are so fucking even. Ooh, man, I don't know. I don't know on this one. I keep saying I never will pick against G-Skill because I really, to me, even when you look at everything on paper, G-Skill is just such a good team. Having played with all of them, having played with the team, I know how things go behind the scenes in these games when the chips are down, when the chips are up, the focus level, the vibes in there. But here's the thing, Dice, same thing, man. It's the same thing. I don't know. I have no idea who to pick in this game. I think it's going to be a fucking banger match of the season candidate. I'll tell you that much without question. If that game is happening Sunday night, I'm sorry to every other game, but that's the one I'm casting. I don't know if it is, though. I don't know. It doesn't say anything here. Did Raven just message me to send me his lineup? Oh, he said recording. I'm on the last prediction right meow. Okay. Sorry. I just was curious. Maybe I was getting Expired's lineup there. Oof. Shit. But yeah, if this is getting played Sunday, like I don't care what time it is, I'm casting it. Sorry. This is a must cast game. Period. Could this be the beginning of the new biggest rivalry in DoD? I think if Dice doesn't win this game, right, then G-Skill have swept them, across the group stage and then the finals, and Dice hasn't been able to beat them yet. But if Dice won this game, all of a sudden, like, I think we've got two potential new biggest rivalries in the game cooking up here. G-Skill Icy Hot and G-Skill Dice. G-Skill Thunder is the oldest, biggest rivalry in the books, but I feel like we're just a little bit back of those other three teams right now. We're not quite, Thunder. We can get there for sure, but I just think we're not quite there right now. Things have just been a little bit too inconsistent and inactive. But that three-way here of Dice, G-Skill, and Icy Hot, that rivalry, that three-way rivalry is just so insane. It's always a guaranteed banger of a match. I think it would definitely enhance that rivalry if Dice were to be able to beat G-Skill here. And I think that would make for a more interesting story when G-Skill inevitably wins gold this season, because it doesn't even matter. They could lose the rest of the regular season, and I would still pick them to go win the finals when all is said and done, because they're just that good of a team. Trust me on that. These games, in the end, are just regular season games. Everybody makes the playoffs. This is all a tune-up for the real shit that comes in the best of threes. Now that we're all accustomed to best of threes in the biggest games, it makes single map matches always feel like you got a little bit cheated, right? So, man, I don't know. Like, I can't pick against G-Skill. I just can't. But if there was ever a time that I was leaning towards it more than ever, it's probably this game right here. Just especially, not just because of, the potential rivalry and how good Dice is, but just because of having heard at the LAN that G-Skill felt like Dice had figured out Armory even more throughout the course of that game. That makes me think maybe Dice is going to come into this game and right off the bat have a good idea of what they need to do to win and be able to do it. Now, again, it always comes down to the individual players too, right? Like if anybody's having a bad game, if anybody's having an exceptionally good game. I'm picking G-Skill here, though, because those are my boys. I mean, Dice are kind of my boys, too, to be fair. But, like, I said it at the start of the season, I'm not going to pick against G-Skill this season. And I'm not going to bitch out on that just because they lost the game. I said I'm never going to pick against G-Skill. I'm sticking to that. Even if G-Skill lose this week, I'm still going to pick for them next week. I think that they are the best team in the game right now. And until somebody else lifts a championship trophy, that's just the fact right now. They are still the team to beat. They lost a tough one last week, but they are still the best team in the game right now. I think this is going to be less than 20 points game in either direction it goes. I think either team can win this game very, very easily. I expect that whoever does win, you're going to see a big performance out of one guy in particular. I think, for Dice, you could see it out of Alex, Kevin, somebody like that, Matt. It could be anybody. Like, I'm not trying to say I think a specific guy on either team, but I'm saying, like, I think whoever wins here, it's going to be on the back of an exceptional, like, MJ performance out of somebody here to turn the tide in the favor of their team. Even if it's not, like, a huge kill total, it's going to be something along the lines of, like, oh, this guy was last alive, and the other team just needed to cap out, and he got 3 kills at the last flag by himself and stalled it out just long enough, and they ended up winning by 39 points or whatever. Something like that will probably be the difference maker in this game. I can't wait to watch this game. Doesn't matter what time it is, I'm casting it. If it's at 3 o'clock at the same time as my match, I'm casting it. I don't care. I'm casting this game. We can get a new 6th, but I want to watch this game. So, all right. That does it after a long-winded rant about Dice versus G-Skill, where I didn't say much of anything in actuality, it feels like, and pretty much pussied out on predicting the match all around. Man, this is going to be a fun week on Armory here. There's a lot of interesting matchups that I look forward to getting to see. That one is the one I most look forward to getting to see, though. If you are not actively playing your match at the time Dice G-Skill is being played, you need to be in that cast, because that will be an all-timer just based on the way it went at the LAN alone, let alone everything else to take into account. Hopefully, both teams have their main 6. I don't know. I think Dice might maybe be missing somebody right now, so it's possible that they're not even playing this game this week, because they still have to make up the Icy-Out game, and I think if they had their main 6, they would probably be making that up, during this time frame. I think maybe Paul's out of town or something. I forget what it was, but somebody's missing, and that's why they haven't done the Icy-Out game yet, and therefore it's possible they're not going to do the G-Skill game this week either. But whenever they do it, it's going to be an all-timer, so make sure you are there in attendance for that bad boy. All right, and submit to the Frag of the Week to War Within. We just saw how much work him and Brandon are putting into movie-making shit. I know some of it may sound like gobbledygook to non-movie makers, but it's very exciting stuff, and their hard work should be rewarded with even more clips to edit, because that's what makes editing fun, is the crazy, crazy clips that you get to try to fuck with. That's what makes these movies end up memorable, right? I don't go back and watch Frag of the Weeks that don't have crazy clips in them all the time, right? The ones you go back and watch are the ones with the craziest clips in them. So submit to the fucking Frag of the Week, or I'll BRB going pee in your mouth. I said it. Peace out.